Part 2, The Secrets Beneath the Crown. By the second week of the investigation, the disappearance of Charles Beaumont, the King of Asheville, had evolved from a missing persons case into something much darker. Detective Elena Morales was no longer chasing trail. She was unraveling a web. The people of Asheville were split. Half still believed their king would return, alive, explaining everything. The other half whispered that he'd run. In diners and coffee shops, locals traded theories. Maybe he got kidnapped for ransom. No, he stole the money and disappeared. Even Beaumont's closest friends couldn't agree. His former driver, Earl Jenkins, told police that Charles had fired him suddenly 2 weeks before vanishing. No explanation, no severance. When asked why, Earl's voice cracked. He looked scared. That's not something you see on him. He said, "Earl, if anything happens, just forget you ever worked for me." I thought he was joking. Financial forensics painted a disturbing picture. That $4.6 million transfer to the Cayman Islands wasn't the only irregularity. A secondary transaction, nearly $900,000, had been funneled into a private account under a shell company named Crown Light Holdings. The address on record? An abandoned office complex in downtown Asheville that hadn't paid property tax since 2012. Detective Morales requested a search warrant. Inside, the walls were lined with faded portraits. Photos of Charles at ribbon cuttings, charity events, fundraisers. But behind one crooked frame, taped to the drywall, was a single photograph. It showed Charles shaking hands with a man who wasn't listed in any of his public records. The name on the back read, J. Dalton, 2016. At first glance, J. Dalton was a ghost, no public record, no driver's license, no tax ID. But cross-referencing old real estate filings uncovered a name match. Jonathan Dalton, a developer from Charlotte with a criminal record for fraud and extortion. He'd vanished in 2017, 3 years before Charles did. Detective Morales' gut tightened. It wasn't just a coincidence. Someone was cleaning up loose ends. The case took an unexpected turn when Beaumont's assistant, Rachel Monroe, finally agreed to speak. She'd been with him for 7 years, managing his schedule, organizing events, and, according to her, keeping certain things private. In a recorded interview, Rachel confessed. Charles wasn't perfect. He had connections, powerful ones. He met people who didn't want their names attached to his charities. There was also someone else, a woman. Her name was Evelyn Cross, a journalist from Atlanta who'd been investigating money laundering in southern real estate networks. She and Charles had met during a charity gala in 2016. A few months later, they were seen together, frequently, discreetly, but not unnoticed. Evelyn stopped returning calls 2 months before Charles disappeared. Her last article draft, recovered from her laptop by police, ended mid-sentence. The man they call the King isn't who he claims to be. On the 10th day of the investigation, Detective Morales received a voicemail from an untraceable number. The message was only 4 words long. He's not the first. The tone was distorted, mechanical. No background noise. No accent. The call came from a burner phone that pinged off a tower 3 miles from Beaver Lake, where the car had been found. When forensics examined the phone records, they discovered something chilling. The same number had called Charles Beaumont's landline at least 6 times in a week before he vanished. Morales ordered the lake search again this time, not for a body, but for something smaller. Divers swept the lake bed and recovered a burned cell phone, wrapped in a torn piece of linen embroidered with the initials CB. The SIM card was fried, but a forensic technician managed to retrieve fragments of one video file. It was dark and grainy, showing what looked like the inside of a car. A man's voice whispered, "They found out. I have to go.